This is the new BYD Dolphin. Yes, it is a bit of a strange name, but a lot of BYD's models are named after things from the ocean and kind of linking to environmentally friendliness type of stuff. I think it's mostly garbage because EVs are not environmentally friendly. They are on the way there, but they're not completely environmentally friendly. They come with huge batteries, and those batteries are made with very exotic materials that are dug from the ground using big heavy machinery, usually powered by diesel. And then there's all the other processes that go into getting it to Australia. So they're not completely environmentally friendly in my opinion. But anyway, let's have a look at this for what it actually is. It's a small electric vehicle, little city runaround. I think it actually looks pretty cute. It's got some unique touches, such as a tail light that goes and zigzags through the whole lot there, a bit like the ocean. I like the black C-pillar here. It kind of makes it look like it's got a floating roof. And then the silver bonnet, which is paired with the silver roof and then the big sunroof on the top there. That's because this is the flagship model for the time being. This is the Premium. You can also get the Dynamic. They are a fair bit different in terms of technically speaking. This features a 60.5 kilowatt hour battery, providing a range of 427 kilometers on the WLTP cycle, or 490 on the NEDC cycle. Energy is sent to the front wheels via an electric motor that produces 150 kilowatts and 310 newton meters. It's actually pretty powerful for a small car like this. And as you'll find when we go for a drive in a minute, it has no problem lighting up the front tyres. The Dolphin offers Type 2 charging as well as CCS2 charging as well. It can only take in 7 kilowatts using AC power, which is pretty low. A lot of EVs at the moment take in at least 11 kilowatts. So if you've got a home charger with 3-phase power at home with up to 22 kilowatts, this thing will only take in 7 kilowatts. And then if you plug in the CCS2 socket at a big charging station, that's using both the plugs there, it'll only take in 80 kilowatts. But the battery at 60 kilowatt hours is pretty small anyway, so it doesn't take too long to charge up. It is only, designed as a city runaround type of vehicle. Inside, as is usually the case with electric vehicles, it's quite space efficient. There's no driveline tunnel through the middle, so you've got some storage down there in the center console. And then there's no gearbox, obviously, so you've got more storage at the front there, a shelf, and a wireless charger. That bit doesn't actually open up, not as far as I can tell anyway, but it is wrapped in this very nice, soft, it's probably artificial leather, but it's just really soft. It feels nice to put your hand on or put your arm on when you're driving along. And then in the back, we've got a completely flat floor because there's no driveline tunnel there, as I mentioned, with no exhaust running through the middle, and quite a bit of space. So this is only a small car, but look at that, I've got heaps of leg room. Even in the middle seat, I can sit here and yeah, it's not too bad. I don't feel like I'm squashed in the middle. It's quite spacious. And I've got a pretty good view out the middle there too. A single cup holder down below and a USB and USB-C charging port. Handy little pockets in the doors, in the back of the seats here, sorry. Both sides. And then a bottle holder in the door as well. The Premium also comes with a huge sunroof, which does actually come with a shutter there. A lot of electric vehicles that are coming out, I'm seeing they have big sunroofs like that, and there's no cover. So in the Australian summer, like today, it's very hot. I want that closed because the sun just beams into this interior. It's all black, and it will just otherwise cook the interior, which means you'd be pumping the air conditioning system and using even more power. But in this, it's good that you can actually close that up. I like this textured plastic on the door trim. It's kind of like it's material, but it does look quite nice. It's better than just the typical plastic. And you've got more of that soft vinyl type of trim there. And then this wetsuit type material on the door. You've also got some in the front, I'll show you in a minute. And then the door handles are obviously shaped like a dolphin's fin. In the back, the boot is pretty small, but it is dual level, so you can store things underneath, or you can just take this board out completely and just utilize the maximum space there. But yeah, that is pretty small. Again, if you're comparing this to a city hatchback or something like that, then it's not too bad. In the front, we've got a very unusual dashboard. It definitely is inspired by underwater coral and things like that. You've even got these little jellyfish type things on the dashboard, the vents for the air conditioning system. And then these also look like they come from some sort of weird exotic octopus or fish or something. And then more of this, it's kind of like wetsuit material. It's not really, but it's sort of feels like it. It's quite soft, absorbs the sound nicely. I think it's a very nice touch. I like that this has an actual start button, because sometimes, you know, I'm with my kids and wife or something like that, and we're on our way to a barbecue or something, and I need to run into the shops or a petrol station or something. I can leave the vehicle running with the aircon on. A lot of electric vehicles out at the moment, they don't actually have a start button, so as soon as you get off the seat, the car shuts down. Some of them I have experienced, you can actually put the aircon back on, but at least with this, yeah, if I get up, it doesn't do anything. It still stays on like I'm in a normal petrol or diesel vehicle. Everything is still on. You can find a pretty good driving position fairly easily. The steering column goes up and down and in and out. And the seat feels, yeah, it feels a bit sporty, but I don't know, it's kind of weird the way the material sits on top. I can feel the back, like the springs in there, and it's just got this material that sort of just floats on top. Very hard to explain, but they hold you in and, you know, they do their job. They feel reasonably comfortable, although I'm not getting much from lumbar. I can't find any lumbar support down there, but yeah, it feels quite flat on my back. I'm just sort of sitting, it feels like I'm sitting on an old mattress or something like that. Comfortable and reasonably soft, but just kind of lacks any sort of posture positioning. And on the dash, you've got this huge touch screen, which has a bit of a party trick. You push this button here or this one here, and the whole thing will rotate around and it'll automatically flip the screen to lay out vertical or horizontal. Does that come in handy? I don't know. I guess you just set it to what you prefer and then that's it. I actually prefer it with horizontal because it does block my view. I'm pretty short, so my view, there's my eyesight right there. That does block my view just a little bit at the top. So I just rotate it around and just leave it like that. It's a bit of a gimmick, but I don't think it's an intrusive gimmick. It doesn't do anything. It doesn't do anything bad, I mean, so why not? And then for the instrument cluster, you've got a little 5-inch screen. You can change the layout a little bit using this button here, but you can't change all that much. Got your live tire pressure monitoring. And yeah, most of your trip information. I do like this touchscreen in that it provides a lot of options. So you hit this car, in terms of car functions anyway, you hit this car setting and you've got options for everything, including for the lane keep assist, which you can turn off or half off or whatever you want to do, just to hit that button to turn it completely off. And you've also got traffic sign recognition and then different areas that you can actually zoom into and control as well. So if you want to turn it all off, you just hit that. I like having the ability to adjust those settings, but when you turn the vehicle off, all of those reset and you've got to do it again. It'd be good if manufacturers could, and correct me if I'm wrong, but if you could set up a profile for drivers. I know some cars you have a profile, but it doesn't actually engage with these sorts of settings. So it'd be good if you could get in and say, yep, I'm Brett, bang, hit one button and it will set up the vehicle how you want. I understand the safety initiatives here where they want all systems turned on, so if your grandmother or something gets in the vehicle, it's as safe as it possibly can be. But just one button to control everything, I still think that's safe in that your grandmother's not going to push Brett or, you know, your profile, but you can still quickly adjust the vehicle straight away to the settings that you want. But anyway, this screen is quite good otherwise. You've got a lot of options there. You've got a lot of apps as well that you can play around with. Apple CarPlay, Android Auto, of course. And then you've also got inbuilt Spotify, digital radio, and sat nav. You can go into the smart charging and fiddle around with the different charging settings. And you can also turn the screen off completely. We'll go for a bit of a drive now up a winding road and see what it's like, and then we'll do the performance testing. But just before we do, just want to highlight the fact that this has pretty ordinary tyres. They're by a company called Linglong. They're made in China. Like a lot of products, I'm not meaning to criticize China, but it is a Chinese brand who perhaps may or might not have been around for all that long, so they don't, or they might not have a lot of experience. I'm trying to talk very politically here, but basically they are shit tyres. They squeal very easily and they just don't handle the power of this vehicle. I find it a little bit fun that it wheel spins a bit, but for the general public, it's not good enough. You can get in a standard Toyota Corolla and nail the throttle. It won't spin the wheels uncontrollably, whereas this will. I think that's all about the balance of the vehicle. The handling is also quite sloppy, but we'll go for a drive and I'll put the camera on my head so I can show you what I mean. To get going, you've got this little gear selector. It's a bit sort of cheap feeling. It moves around a bit, as you can see. Same with the volume knob, just moves around, but it's quite unique. I don't mind it. Flick it down for drive and then back up again for reverse. It's got a nice big surround view camera as well. Gives you a great view of what's going on around you. You can even see the little leaves and things on the ground. Very good detail there. I'm not going to be pushing this too hard because I literally don't feel comfortable driving this very hard. It just doesn't feel like it's committed or very well tied down. I'll put it into the sport mode. There's a number of modes you can choose from, including eco, normal and sport. I'll leave it in sport just to just to see how sporty it is. It doesn't actually change the suspension or anything like that. You've also got steering settings. You can change the weight of it. It doesn't change anything fundamentally. It's just changing the way it feels a little bit. So yeah, just a little bit of throttle there and it's already starting to wheel spin. Wheel spin again. I think my main concern, or what it is, my main concern is the suspension. It's so soft and bouncy. This road does, you know, it's not the best road, but we've got these types of roads everywhere in Australia. And I think that's the important issue here. This seems to be developed for a highway predominantly, whereas, yeah, I think they need to spend some time over in Europe and in Australia to see what sort of roads we drive on as well. But I'll give it some going down around this corner. The front end is already starting to lose traction. Keep in mind, I've been down here in a standard Mazda 3 and a standard Corolla, and they do just fine. They're very well balanced in that they're not too fast for the handling, whereas this feels a bit too fast for its handling. I mean, sorry, a bit too fast for its handling. Again, we've got some wheel spin. But yeah, over the bumps, it's just, you probably can't see it on camera, but it's really tipping and bouncing around. It's just not giving me very much confidence at all. The steering is quite nice in town. It's pretty light and it does its job, but it's not providing much feel out here, and it's not very precise. I don't quite know exactly where the front of the car is at times, and I'm guessing that it's got something to do with those tyres. They're just not very responsive. So the stability control kicked in then. I'll turn that off for a second just to show you. It will engage again, I think, when you go over a certain speed, because I did the 0 to 100 tests with it turned off, and it kind of, as you'll see, kind of violently comes back on again and grabs the wheel and puts an end to any wheel spin. So we'll see what happens now when I'm already driving at speed. Around this corner. Yeah, lots of wheel spin happening. And I see the stability control is turned back on. We'll turn that back off again. I'll slow right down and just see what sort of speed it comes back on. Yeah, so just cut back in then at about 70 kilometers an hour. You can rewind and check that. I'll turn it off again. Yeah, a lot of wheel spin on the inside wheel there. And I'm only giving it sort of half throttle. I mean, I don't think it will make much difference if I gave it full throttle, but it's just that instant torque and power that's available straight away. It doesn't matter how much you rev it out, so it kind of doesn't matter how much you apply, how much throttle you apply. It's already got a lot of torque straight away. And I understand, this is not a hot hatch, it's not meant to be a sports car, but I believe there should be an overall balance with all vehicles. They should be able to handle themselves, and this doesn't feel like it handles itself. Like a standard Toyota Corolla, I know I don't mean to pick on the Corolla, I'm not picking on it, I just feel like that's a default car. It's not trying to be anything else. but yet it'll go down a road like this and handle very, very well. There's no excessive wheel spin. The body doesn't feel sloppy like this does. It's I think this just needs more tuning with the suspension and some better tires. But when it comes to cruising, it's very comfortable and quiet. This is a coarse road, so you can probably hear some road roar, but on a highway or something like that, yeah, it's very quiet and comfortable. You've got excellent overtaking power as well, so I'm going 70 kilometers an hour. And that's 100 kilometers an hour. So very easy to overtake someone quite safely. If you want to use this as just a runaround or a second vehicle or something like that, I think it's quite nice. The interior presentation is interesting, and it feels like it's pretty good quality. The motor provides plenty of power and torque, and the range is also very good. I saw the range top out at about 500 kilometers with the full battery. We'll head out now and do the performance testing on the private road.